What's going on, everyone? Daniel Rodriguez here. It's time to do a spoiler review for X-Men Apocalypse, which, of course, directed by Bryan Singer, has an estimated budget of $178 million. Now, I'm just going to be spoiling the shit out of X-Men Apocalypse, basically from the beginning to end, and I'm reading it from Wikipedia. I've seen the movie 2 times already. I plan on seeing it a 3rd time on Tuesday. So, we're going to get into it, man. We're just going to talk about it. We're going to, have some good time here, and let's just get right into it, man. So, of course, spoiler review. Just want everyone to know. My non-spoiler review will be linked right down below. I just filmed it, man. Long story short, gave it an 8.5 out of 10. I'll give you the grade right now. It's a great film. It's a great X-Men film. I really enjoyed it, man. And you're going to have people out there. You're going to have people nitpicking it and being like, here's why it's not the greatest X-Men movie. And everyone has their own personal opinion. I've heard people saying it's a bad film. It's a okay film. It's a good film. Or it's a great film. There are many people out there being like, yeah, it's bad. No, it was okay. It was really good. It's great. I've heard many different responses from different people and seen different comments on different pages and everything. I thought it was great. And here's the thing. I'm a Marvel fanboy. I am. But that does not mean I'm going to give every movie a great thing. Like, there are a few problems with this film, and I'll get into it. There are plot holes. There are underused characters. There's some disappointing things. The third act does fall apart every now and then. But overall, Deadpool was a great film. I enjoyed Deadpool. Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice is a great superhero film. As a film itself, take out the whole superhero stuff. I mean, don't categorize it as a superhero film, but categorize it as a film, just a feature film. A lot of problems, a lot of problems, and basic and no plot, very little plot to the film, really. But it is a great superhero film. It is. And Captain America: Civil War Civil War was pretty damn epic. It was an epic event, really, to be seen in cinemas. Either way, X-Men Apocalypse is the new superhero film, and it's a great film. I enjoyed it, and I think Oscar Isaac is one of the greatest villains ever to even be on a superhero film. He's one of the best actors in Hollywood, and the way that he played Apocalypse was so freaking awesome. Like, he knocked it out of the ballpark so well. So, anyway, let's get right on to it. I mean, great cast, great. A lot of people hate on Bryan Singer. Sometimes I'm not the biggest fan of Bryan Singer, but this time around, he did an awesome job on Apocalypse. From the effects to the writing to the action to the choreography to the just everything. I will say Civil War has better action scenes with the choreography, but just the way they use Apocalypse in this film, the way the tone for Apocalypse is my favorite tone of a superhero film this year. You know what I mean? So, either way, let's get on to it. First off, the powerful mutant En-Sabah-Nur, who rules ancient Egypt until he is betrayed by his worshippers, who entomb him alive. En-Sabah-Nur's 4 lieutenants die preserving him. So this was the opening of the film, of course. And it shows him, basically old Apocalypse. Apocalypse basically, he transfers body to body when he needs to change his, this Apocalypse is old and everything. I literally thought, when I saw it, I was like, holy shit, Oscar Isaac's old, or old makeup and shit. But then I ended up seeing Oscar Isaac on the table, and I was like, oh, okay, I get you. It took me, I didn't get it the first time I saw it on a Thursday night. On Friday morning, when I saw it, I was like, okay, those are the 4 horsemen. I didn't understand that those were the 4 horsemen. I thought that was just for protecting, but they're his 4 horsemen. But it was very, I even said this in my non-spoiler review, the music was boom, 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 the chorus in the background was it was going hardcore and everything, boom, 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 boom. And the way that the effects were, because think about that, 95% of everything you're seeing is just CGI, and it looks real, it looks really good. Honestly, unless you're a hater, you can't be oh, those Egyptian effects look sucky, look at that, so fake. You can't be like that. Come on now. It was some great effects in there, dude. Civil War had great effects. Batman v Superman had great effects. Deadpool had some good effects, man, but of course from lower budget. But either way, Deadpool's not all about the effects and spectacle. It's about Deadpool himself, so why not? Deadpool's amazing. Either way, with this, yeah, the opening was like, I never knew, unless X-Men, I don't think X-Men has ever been that intense, where, I mean, you got some guy, like, gonna go stab Apocalypse, and the girl literally freaking breaks his bones, and he's like a ball, he's like, ah, and he turned into like a freaking ball of a human being, and just freaking, I don't know, that was pretty intense for an X-Men film. I was like, oh, maybe kids shouldn't go see this movie. And I mean, literally, like, there were people burning to death, and they're like, ah, and like, it was crazy. It was a crazy opening, dude, and the girl ended up, like, you got people getting smashed by rocks. You got people, I mean, everybody's just dying in a massacre. And and one of my favorite shots, too, is when all the Egyptians are running and you see the pyramid falling down. I thought that was a beautiful shot there. I really think, like, that opening is one of the most intense openings. Think about it. The Deadpool opening, how did it open? Okay, the opening credit sequence, really good. Batman v Superman opened up with... How did Batman v Superman open? Oh, no, it was another... Yeah, they opened up with Bruce Wayne and everything. That was a good opening, too. Civil War, their opening, they opened up with The Winter Soldier. That was a good... All the superhero films have a really great opening this year, dude. Let's see what Suicide Squad opens up with. Let's see what Doctor Strange opens up with. But so far, all of them have a great opening, dude. Literally some intense openings going on. Anyway... He is awakened in 1983 and believing that without his presence humanity has lost its way. And Sabanur decides to destroy the world and remake it, or what he wants to do. He recruits Caro, Pickpocket, Aurora, Monroe, I probably butchered that name, which can control weather and upgrade her powers. He basically gets Storm. Storm is one of the most underused characters in this film. And the actress who plays her, Alexander Shipp, she did an awesome job. Like, I didn't hate her whatsoever. I mean, I'm glad she turned good at the end, you know, and the whole, like, her new costume and everything really, really looks well done, man. I really like her. And it was interesting because, then again, you see more of Apocalypse. Like, Apocalypse, he's in 1983. He's not in the Egyptian age anymore, in BC. He's walking around, and he's looking, and literally, like, a car is like, and he's looking and all that. And I like it how he's like, stop. Like, there's no need for weapons, blah, blah, blah. And the guy's like, what are you doing here, clown? And, like, the three guys come, and then he ends up, like, with the sand from the rocks, decapitating them. He decapitated 3 people, just, like, dead. And, like, then he ended up turning that guy into concrete where he's still alive and his eyes are moving and everything, which Apocalypse really loves to do that in this film. He's like, you don't feel it. Now you feel it. I was like, because you could see Oscar Isaac puts, I know, I hope no one's thinking this, because I know some people probably think it like, you're just liking it just to like it. You're on that bandwagon there. No, I love X-Men. X-Men is one of my religion, dude. I love the X-Men. And have I been disappointed with certain things in the past X-Men films? Yes, I have. But it's all about, and the film itself, the plot and the write, it's all about that too. But it's also about the experience, because watching this film, I waited 4 hours sitting on. I've waited 8 hours for Civil War. I've waited 8 hours for Batman v Superman. I waited 2 hours for Deadpool. Technically, I'm not lying. I waited 2 hours for that because I was sick that day. I waited 16 hours for Star Wars: The Force Awakens. So I wait hours for these films, and you know, when I arrived 4 hours early for Apocalypse, there were only 2 people in the theater waiting. I was the 3rd person to enter. And then, like, an hour later, 1 person came. And then it got packed by the time the movie started, of course. But that's true fans. People who actually go early and wait. Those are people who have been waiting and dying to see this. You know, we've been waiting for this. And I'll say, and I love my X-Men, baby. I really do. Watching this film made me feel just like a young 10-year-old again. Just like, I was watching in awe, basically. I really was. And just the way he ends up, you know, Oscar Isaac, he put so much emotion into Apocalypse. We're still connected. Like, he put so much connection into Apocalypse. Like, I mean, emotion into Apocalypse. It's beautiful. It literally is. He's one of the best superhero villains ever to be on screen. And you could complain about, the way they used him, the way he looked. There's always going to be someone out there, boom, 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 like always going to hate. There's always going to be someone who hates. And that's their opinion. Whatever, you go ahead and do it. You know, you're going to hate. I mean, that's you. But me, I'm being honest. He was amazing. And just, anyway, he gets Storm and he ends up going and learning. He's looking at the TV and he learns about all this shit going on in the world for the past thousands of years. And then she's like, welcome to the 80s and like all that. And he's like, I have not been here for you. I have not been here for you, my child. I was asleep, but I have returned. And it's sort of like a Jesus Christ moment, like the way the music was and the way that he's in his cloak and the sunlight is coming in and he's like, I am sorry, my child. I have been gone for a long time. Like, it was literally like a Jesus Christ moment. And the way that he turned her thing to gray and her hair and she basically gets an upgrade was really awesome to see, honestly. In Poland, the metal-controlling mutant Eric Lenscher lives with his wife and young daughter, Nina. When authorities attempt to capture him, his family is accidentally killed, and he retaliates by murdering all the policemen. Yeah, this part here, Michael Fassbender, the way that he portrayed Magneto in this film is probably his best portrayal. One of his best portrayals of Magneto, of course. Seeing him with the family was fun to see because you do get to see Michael Fassbender sing to Nina. You just see it's a love relationship that you do see, and it's fun to see actually. Oh, it's nice to see him actually love again. It's nice to actually see him be happy. That's his happy place. And there's a thing at work where the thing's gonna fall, and he ends up stopping it with his powers, and it basically reveals to them like that guy's a mutant. You know, he's a mutant. So they go talk to the policeman and. That scene alone, too, where they're looking for Nina and they go out to the woods and everything and they're talking in the Poland accent and they have no metal. And right there and then, like, it turns out that his daughter's a mutant and she has, like, birds going around everywhere and she doesn't really know how to control it. She's just angry. She has all this frustration inside. It's a heartbreaking moment. It is an emotional scene. And everybody in the theater, day 1 and day 2 when I saw it, right when that bow lets go, and it was perfectly aimed, by the way. I mean, that's kind of a thing, like, wow, it was perfectly aimed, right, to get them too. But either way, he's like, and right when that arrow, everybody in the theater, no, what? Like, everybody was just in shock. And I didn't cry the first time I saw it. I did cry the second time because it just got me a little bit more. Because the first time I knew Magneto's wife and daughter was going to die. It's kind of in the plot. Either way, they both are like... It's a very, very, emotional moment. And right there, like, he wasn't Magneto. He was just Eric Lenscher. And then right when he gets the metal out, all the policemen end up dying. It goes right through their throats, killing them instantly and everything. That scene alone was like Magneto's back. Like that's it. No more hiding. No more anything. He's actually going to. He's going back. I mean, now his family's gone. He kind of has nothing basically to live for in a sort of way where he's going to get back at those men that reported him. So anyway, N. Salvador later approaches the disheartened Eric and takes him to Auschwitz. Yeah, this scene again where he already recruited Psylocke already, and he already recruited Angel. And of course, Angel, I like the way Angel looked. Ben Hardy really had a cool look to Angel when he had his feathered wings, before he got his metal wings, but before he got his metal wings, he was really cool because you saw Nightcrawler versus Angel, which was a cool fight and everything. Fight or else we'll die. But the way Ben Hardy looked was really awesome because he's like listening to Metallica, he's drinking vodka or some sort of alcohol and liquor, and they approach and he's like, the hell do you want, man? Like, he's just like all like that, all like freaking, and isn't someone like, who did it? Somebody's like, this is the guy? And she's like, he used to be. And something like where Apocalypse, like, let's go, he's not worth it. And he's like, Apocalypse is like, yes, he is. And Angel comes down, and my favorite thing is when he's turning his wings to metal, he's like, yes, rise, my angel. That was awesome. Like, the way that the way that he was just like, yes, oh, you put so much emotion into it, dude. I loved it. Either way, they confront Eric. Apocalypse ends up putting all those workers like in the concrete and cement. I need to get a drink real quick, excuse me. Yeah, the way that they did that, dude, that's a horrible way to die. Imagine how many hours it's going to take for you to die being stuck in concrete. Not a way you would want to go. He takes them back to Auschwitz. They show a few first class scenes, and I remember I haven't seen First Class in like 2-3 years, and the way that they showed like young Magneto, I remember when he was in the room and everything, he was like, ah, and he uses his powers and everything. That was really cool. This is one of my favorite scenes because this is where he finally gets his upgrades to his powers, basically where Eric's powers first manifested. Eric destroys the camp and joins S.H.I.E.L.D, where he basically gets an upgraded powers and he's like, feel the metal in the ground. And he destroys the whole Auschwitz. He destroys the whole town. And he's like, ah! Like when when your girl's like too hard on you, like, ah! Just going at it. And this is where Apocalypse is like, everything they've built will fall. And from the ashes of their world, we'll build a better one. And everything is just breaking apart. And again, the effects are amazing in here. Like, I ain't lying, like, the effects are beautiful, they're strong, they're looking good, and it looks realistic as can be, man. Like, you could barely look into little things and like computer effect, and everything else looks like, I saw a guy in front of me, and he's an older gentleman, man, probably in his 50s, 60s maybe. I mean, not old, like, he's very old, man. He's like 90-year-old. Like, 80 and 90 are old. But if you're 50, 60, you still got a little young age to you. Anyway, there's a guy right in front, and I saw him, he was like, I saw him, and I was like, oh, shit. Like, that's how you know, man. Like, those effects, like, I'm thinking with $178 million, how did you do that for every scene? How did you do that? Who are your special effects people, man? Because they look amazing, dude. Either way, so that happens, dude. He destroys the camp, joins S.H.I.E.L.D. In East Berlin, shape-shifting mutant Raven investigates an underground fight club and discovers a mutant champion, Angel, who possesses a pair of large feathered wings on his back, and Kurt Wagner, who can teleport. Raven rescues Kurt and employs the services of black marketer Caliban to safely transport him to the U.S., S.H.I.E.L.D recruits Caliban's enforcer Psylocke, who leads him to Angel. S.H.I.E.L.D enhances both of their powers, transforming Angel's wings into metal. Of course, we just kind of went and discussed through all that. I enjoyed Caliban, the character. I enjoyed him, man. Isn't that the guy who was in Gotham, and also he was in The Flash, I believe. He's like, he talks in like third person. He's like, Caliban doesn't like it when you talk like that. Caliban knows your secrets. Caliban likes money, but he's going to give you free information for free. Like stuff like that. He's pretty cool. I'm glad he didn't die, or at least not that we know of. And when Apocalypse came, of course, he already had Storm. She was already upgraded. Then he upgraded Psylocke. And even though Psylocke, like Olivia Munn, she hasn't really had much film stuff to actually show her. Like, honestly, she's not a great actress. She's not. She's not. She's just sort of a beautiful face to look at, basically. Kind of like, I can't be honestly, but I'm being like honest. Like, she's not really that good of an actress. She's not. But I like her as Psylocke because she does look the role. She does look good in the Psylocke costume, and she is a badass, dude. Like, I will say that she is a badass in the scene she's in, but she's very underused, where you really don't get to. She's like Gal Gadot in a lot of her films, like where she's not Wonder Woman. You barely get to see her, and you're like, wait, how's her acting chops? Like, I don't understand. Like, you're not giving me enough time to see her acting, you know? So that's sort of a problem there. Burping. Okay. Alex Summers takes his teenage younger brother, Scott, whose own mutations are for shooting optic beams is manifesting, to Professor Charles Xavier's Educational Institute in Winchester Country, New York, where Xavier and Hank McCoy will teach him how to control his abilities. Scott meets the telepathic and telekinetic Jean Grey, and the two develop an attraction. Yeah, this part here, of course, where it shows the background, sort of like within the first 15 minutes of the movie, where we do see Scott Summers. He's in school, and he's starting to feel like it's cool because we do get to see the beginning of Cyclops, and it's a really cool. It's just a real cool look to the introduction. Like every character in here has a really good introduction, from Nightcrawler to Angel to all of the characters except Psylocke. She didn't have a great introduction, honestly. She was just kind of there, like she said something to Raven, and then like no one responded back to her. So that kind of introduction there was kind of meh, honestly. But other than that, everyone else had a really awesome introduction. Apocalypse had an amazing introduction. James McAvoy, of course, Professor X, Magneto. Everyone had a great introduction. I think it's Psylocke, honestly. Either way, his whole power, and the guy was like, "Are you crying? I haven't even kicked your ass yet." And he's like, "Ah!" Like the beams come out and everything. And luckily, the guy didn't die and all that. But yeah, definitely him meeting Beast and Professor and all that. And then I think that was my favorite tree. And then the tree ends up splitting apart and everything. Definitely a real good comedic jokes in there, and I do feel it between Jean Grey and Cyclops. Hopefully they actually get that romance right, hopefully. And the two develop an attraction. Raven brings Kurt to the Institute and informs Xavier about Magneto, as she learned about his attack in Caliban's hideout, or attacking Caliban's hideout. And Sabanur's powers caused disturbance around the world, leading Xavier and Alex to consult with CIA agent Moira McTaggart, who has been researching the legend of Nur. Excuse me for a second, gotta get my drink. Oh, yeah. With this now, where Xavier... It just shows Professor X again with more of his powers, where he walks in, he's like, "Everybody take a break," and everybody just kind of freezes, and it's really cool. It reminds me of the Days of Future Past, or no, the Wolverine. It reminds me of the Wolverine after credit scene, where everybody's frozen, and Professor X comes in and everything. But it's James McAvoy, just his voice is so Patrick Stewart. Like, he is the young Patrick Stewart of our generation, and he's perfect as that dude. So definitely they show all that. Moira McTaggart. I'm kind of pissed that Moira McTaggart doesn't remember them, because I totally forgot in First Class he wipes her memories and everything. And that's sort of that thing where I'm like, wiping the memory sort of thing. I mean, I wish she just kind of knew who they were right from the start, and so they don't have to, it's just, they're good scenes, but they're slow, dragged out scenes. That's what they are. Because again, when I saw it the second time, it's a good scene, but it's like, I get it, I know what happens, like, it drags out. It really does at times, where the pacing is a little, It doesn't ruin the movie that much, but it just sort of drags it on to a point. And Sabanur hacks into Xavier's mind while Xavier is using the mutant locating computer ShutUpBro, and co-ops Xavier's powers to force all global superpowers to launch Earth's entire nuclear arsenal into space to prevent interference. Yeah, this scene alone, dude, where they end up showing ShutUpBro and he finds Magneto, and he says Xavier's just like, "I'm sorry, I feel your pain and everything," and he's like, you don't understand, and Apocalypse is just hacks into Xavier. "I've never felt power like this before." All of that was really nice. Really, really well done. I love the way that he ends up, looking and locating. And this is one of the best things, because he ends up with the whole nuclear stuff, and Apocalypse doesn't even use the nukes to destroy the world. He just uses the nukes to go up into space so they don't interfere or anything. And he's like, "No more swords. No more slings. No more weapons. You can fire your arrows from the Tower of Babel, but you can never strike God." Like, that, that's what I'm trying to say. Oscar Isaac's performance was like, when I was watching that the first time, and even the second time, And yeah, I know auto-tune or whatever tuned and everything, but that is still Oscar Isaac saying it. Like, Oscar Isaac goes into the booth and then he says it multiple times and they tune it and they add it up, but it's still Oscar Isaac saying it technically. His performance, and I love it because he's like, no more weapons. Like, he has emotion to his fit. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say, is his performance is amazing in that makeup. And there's some people that are hating on Oscar Isaac, and some people are like everyone's like, and I understand, Fassbender's amazing, McAvoy's amazing. I said that in my review too. They are amazing. They're one of the best performances in the movie. But I hear nobody talking about Oscar Isaac. Where is everybody? What about Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse? Oh, yeah, that guy with the weird makeup and everything, he looks stupid. He was disappointing. He was such a disappointment. Well, maybe Apocalypse, but what about Oscar Isaac? His performance was flawless. Perfect. Does anyone agree with me that Oscar Isaac did a fantastic job? That he is one of the greatest superhero villains ever portrayed on the big screen? Anybody? I think he did an awesome job, man. No more weapons. Oh, so perfect, dude. Anyway, Sabinur and his lieutenants arrive at the mansion and kidnap Xavier. Attempting to stop them, Alex accidentally causes an explosion that destroys the mansion. Peter Maximoff, having learned that he is Eric's son and hoping that Xavier can help to find him, arrives in time to use his super speed to evacuate the students from the mansion, and Alex is presumed dead, as he was the closest to the blast. Going on to the Quicksilver scene. It topped the X-Men Days of Future Past scene for sure. God, and even the effects too. I mean, I remember seeing the leaked Comic-Con footage and it showed Magneto, like, and Xavier was like on the wheelchair and everything because he was all knocked out. That scene, I remember, I was like, oh, because the effects were still not done and everything, so it kind of looks a little cheapy at the time. But it looks amazing on the screen, dude. We're actually seeing that. It's like, holy hell, like, it looks really, really well done. Either way, from that, Havoc, I remember, he shouldn't have done that, because he was like, hey, you son of a bitch. And he freaking just blows up that jet, and I'm assuming Havoc's dead. And that's a very disappointing thing as well, because Havoc was very underused in the film, but I wanted to see the Summer brothers actually interact with each other. Excuse me for another drink real quick. I actually wanted to see them interact a little bit more. I really, really, really did. So I was kind of really disappointed with that aspect of the film. But I can't say much more than Quicksilver's scene was better than X-Men Days of Future Past. It was awesome. It's a show stealer, of course. It has Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. When he goes when he enters the thing and he's looking at some people and the guy was like, to his girlfriend and everything. Like, it was really cool. He throws him in the air. Everyone was just enjoying that scene in the theater, and that makes me happy, man. I was very excited the way that they did that, the way that they filmed it. I think it took a month and a half to film that scene alone. Really awesome job, Bryan Singer and the team. So after that, Colonel William Stryker's forces subsequently arrest Hank, Raven, Peter, and Moira, and take them to a military facility for interrogation. Scott, Jean, and Kurt covertly followed and liberate their comrades with help from Stryker's brainwashed experiment Weapon X, Wolverine, whose mind Jean partially restores. Okay, so going on to Stryker's story arc there, I enjoyed it. I didn't have no really problems with it. I thought it was kind of funny when Quicksilver wakes up and he's like, ah! And he sees Beast and he's like, is that going to happen to all of us? And what Stryker goes up to the glass and he's like, what was he saying? He was like, what was he saying? He's like, is that Charles Xavier's voice? That's him. What's he doing? He's like, I don't know, bruh. Like, Quicksilver was like, I don't know, bruh. Just all out loud and everything. Either way, well, what I was thinking was, why didn't Quicksilver take Stryker down? Like, I understand not until Beast said, what? Like, until he said something. But Quicksilver, like, when they had the guns out or when they brought him out, Quicksilver, all he had to do was take him out. That's all he had to do. Take him out. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all he had to do, really. But, okay. It's a film, you know, whatever. We wouldn't have saw Weapon X if he didn't do that. So, yeah, definitely bringing back the guy who played William Stryker in Days of Future Past. He was really good in this film, too. For the little small stuff he did. He didn't have much of a role in here. Hugh Jackman's cameo, without saying anything, just basically that's all he did. But I love it because is that some sort of animal? No, it's a man. The way that they did it all, he walks out and he has the headset and everything. And he's like, and that got me so excited for the next Wolverine film, because I've been saying for the past few weeks to my friends and everything, I've been saying, like, Hugh Jackman, you know, he's a great Wolverine, he will always be Wolverine. Get somebody new to play Wolverine. But when I saw him again on the big screen, I was like, please, stay Wolverine forever, dude. You're not 70 years old. Harrison Ford came back as Han Solo. He's like 75 or something. Play Wolverine. I don't care if Wolverine gets fat. Just go and do Wolverine, dude. You have the amazing look for it. If you get fat, you don't have to stay healthy. You know why? Because you'll be in a costume of Wolverine. That's why you should do that. But either way. Oh, man. When I saw him jump, and I was like, there's Wolverine. Like, we finally got him back. When he was like, rah, and like, he was like, oh my god, there was one part where he leaped on the guy and he was like, and I was like, oh my god. He did the whole stuff where he was like, he's running and then he has his claws and everything, and he was like, like, he was, I was like, that's Wolverine. Saw the blood, and you saw everything going on, and it kind of teases you for Old Man Logan, man. You kind of have that rated R feel to it. Anyway, I like how he looks at Jean and everything, and then his hair, that mullet style and everything, looked fantastic on Hugh Jackman. At En Salvanor's behest, Eric uses his powers to control Earth's magnetic poles, causing widespread destruction across the planet and mass casualties. Amazing effects. Following a telepathic distress call secretly sent by Xavier to Jean, the others arrive in Carol to battle En Salvador and his lieutenants. This is the thing. Magneto's doing all this, and this is one of the plot holes I didn't get to say in my non-spoiler review because it's a spoiler. When Magneto's freaking bringing all that stuff going on into the Earth, when the ship flies and everything, it's made out of metal. So why didn't it fly into Magneto's stream of magnets? You get it? Like, that's one of the plot holes I realized. I'm like, did the writers even think about that? They probably didn't. Another drink real quick. Excuse me, my good side. If you made it far into this video, you're an alright kid. Either way. They rescue the professor before conscious is transferred into his body, but Xavier loses his hair as the process was nearing completion. Angel is defeated in the battle. Angel was like, ah! Really? 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 All you had to do was fly out of the plane, or else freaking cut the airplane in half and fly. That's all you had to do. And I know it's going down, and of course Kurt and them teleported, but all you had to do was just rotate your wings and cut the thing and then fly away. I know it's pulling you down, but you have wings. Flap. Flap, Angel. That's all you had to do, and boom. Useless. Whoever wrote that, that's some disappointing stuff right there. Either way, Psylocke was like, whee! And then she like freaking went on the side of the thing, and she fell down. She was like, ugh, down for the battle. You see why the third act kind of falls apart? Either way, that happens there. Okay. Angel's defeated in battle. Eric and Storm are convinced to turn on Apocalypse, keeping him occupied while Xavier fights him in the astral plane. Finally, Xavier pleads Jean to unleash the full might of her powers, and she appears to destroy Anne Salvador in the ensuing chaos. Psylocke flees from the destruction. Whoever thought about writing Psylocke being like, who wrote that? Who wrote that? Anyway, when, I love it because Apocalypse, he's like, thank you for letting me in. And Apocalypse is like, Charles, this is my world. You're in my world now. You're in my home. And he looks up and everything, and he turns big and everything. Have you seen Civil War? This is my version of the giant man. Ha! Freaking. Yeah. Use your powers, Jean. Use your powers. It was really cool. I love it when he's like, Charles, where are you? Quicksilver. Like, imagine that. How cool. Wouldn't you want to pay Quicksilver just to be like that and be like, dead? How amazing is that, dude? That was really, really cool. Anyway. Oh, and Jean Grey, dude, she looked at, like, yeah. She looked really amazing when she was walking through that door, and she was like, fuck yeah, Game of Thrones, I'm Khaleesi now, and everything. And she's like, unleash the power. The Phoenix, Marie. So it was really awesome because I love when Magneto turns and it turns to that X and everything. It's like, you cheeky bastard, what are you, an X-Man? You're trying to do an X or something? I mean, he's like, you betrayed me. I betrayed them. My name is Magneto. Anyway, so that all stuff, and Storm's like, and like, it was just so, it was so weird. Either way, it was really cool, and like, all of a sudden Apocalypse becomes naked and everything, and just like the metal stuff is like, and he's still putting a force field, and Storm is like that, and he's like, all has been revealed. Either way, that happens. In the aftermath, Xavier restores Moira's memories of him. Eric and Jean help reconstruct the school, but Eric turns down Xavier's offer to stay and help teach. Under Raven's tutelage, Scott, Jean, Hank, Storm, Kurt, and Peter become the new X-Men and train for the battles ahead. You're X-Men. Forget everything you know. Forget the 12 years of high school you just did. Forget the algebra. Forget the English. Forget the Spanish classes. You're X-Men. Well, what about paying the bills? You don't have to worry about paying the bills. You're an X-Men. What about my mom? I mean, I have to help her pay the bills, and if I don't know math, it doesn't matter what you think. X-Men. Bring out the Sentinels. And then Professor X is like, anyway, you know, dude, I can jam out to that all day. Like I'm so amazing. In the post-credit scene, the Weapon X facility is visited by a suited man who who got Wade Wilson to go and... No, I'm kidding. What happened to it was that guy? It links to Deadpool. Anyway. Retrieving data on Stryker's mutant research, including an X-ray and a blood sample marked Weapon X, on behalf of the E6 Corporation. Which means Mr. Sinister. Mr. Sinister. Oh, we got some good stuff coming up ahead, baby. Not much to talk about there. Not really. I mean, Mr. Sinister, stuff like that. And the new costumes at the end. Nightwing, dude. You ever play Nightwing? The cheekbones and everything. Like, he's really, really awesome, man. Everybody had their moment to shine, except Psylocke and Angel and Storm. But everyone else had their moment to shine. And you can see why the third act kind of falls apart. But other than that, that's why I gave it an 8.5 out of 10, boys and girls. You heard what I liked. You heard what I didn't like. We recapped the whole film, man. Thanks so much for watching my spoiler review, man. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to comment down below. Let me just give you the pros and cons real quick from my non-spoiler review. Kind of give you the breakdown. For the pros, the effects. Apocalypse, aka Oscar Isaac, the new generation of X-Men for their introductions to. The action, Michael Fassbender, Wolverine, the opening, Magneto, Quicksilver, it's intense, and the scale of the battles. So, the cons about it, some characters were not used enough or they were underused. The third act, fighting at times, kind of fell apart, and it was long pacing problems. So that's why it's an 8.5 out of a 10. Is it still worth watching in theaters? Hell yes it is, and of course if you've seen it in theaters, you know what I'm talking about. And it's worth buying on Blu-ray day one. Thanks again. Like, comment, and share the video, and hit that subscribe button for more. My next spoiler review should be, technically, I only do it really for superhero films, but if it's going to be a movie, like a regular Hollywood film, my next one will probably be Independence Day Resurgence, which will be my spoiler review for Independence Day Resurgence. And then Suicide Squad. So Suicide Squad is technically my next big spoiler review. So until August, I'll be seeing you guys for spoiler reviews. And then Independence Day at the end of June. But of course, every week I review movies, man. Every week in movies, TV shows, trailer reactions, all that good stuff. So check out the channel. I really would appreciate that. Until next time, hope you guys had an awesome time. Make sure to check out my Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice spoiler review, which I'll probably put it right here down below, and the Civil War spoiler review as well. Until next time, bye-bye.